human trafficking, drugs and fake note menace from there. So now the worries are not only about the geopolitical situation and what Bangladesh's next government, the challenges the next government would be posing for India, but also the safety and security of the border which we share almost more than 4,000 kilometers of border.
All right. In fact, reports are suggesting that it could be, an announcement would have been made by now. Let's listen in to Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, who spoke to my colleague Vishnu Shom last evening.
Joined now by Professor Muhammad Yunus, the 2006 Nobel laureate and founder of Grameen Bank, one of the most well-known Bangladeshi citizens. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us.
Thank you.
I think the biggest worry now is law and order in Bangladesh. We'll talk about politics in a while, but it's law and order and who is in charge. What are your thoughts?
Well, of course, that's a very important issue, law and order. That's where it all began. It completely collapsed. And that's led to the demand for resignation of the government, resignation of the Prime Minister, and that led to, it finally led to that resignation. Today, there's a celebration of the kind that we had on 16 December 1971, when we freed ourselves from Pakistanis. And now we got rid of a very totalitarian government. So there's a lot of celebration all over the country, not just not the Dhaka city, millions of people out in the street enjoying their freedom, that finally we get free from all those difficulties that we have got through. So that's we're enjoying it, and we see that a new era is beginning in Bangladesh. Finally got rid of the people who have been torturing them, creating problems for them, and corruptions and everything all over the country. So now,
Yunus, is it not your worry, sir? Is it not your worry that there would be more instability going forward? One of the points mentioned...
Hopefully, the instability can be packed into a box and keep it there. That's what Hasina was trying to do. Or instability to come out to create a stability, because ultimate goal, ultimate cure, ultimate medicine of stability is to bring democracy that was completely denied in Bangladesh. So for the first time, we'll get a chance to have a real election. That's what the whole idea of having this revolution.
No, but Professor Yunus, the worry also, sir...
A transparent election,
right,
not
by all means, absolutely. Democracy must thrive in Bangladesh, no two ways about that. But in the interim period, isn't there a real worry that there are Islamist elements and extremist elements in Bangladesh?
All kinds of elements, of course. Any nation
so that's the problem, sir, because why would students go and destroy a statue of the father of Bangabandhu, of Sheikh Mujib, which we have on our screen? Are they not being instigated? This was anger against the Prime Minister.
Blame Hasina for that, leading the nation to destroy her father's image, because she has made so bitter thing for the whole country. They don't mind what they are doing that. It's the responsibility lies squarely on the Prime Minister who did that, made the whole country in that situation.
And do you believe that this interim government, which is now going to be formed, has it in it to actually bring law and order? Because even now, we had a correspondent up just about 3 minutes back, people are looting police stations and making off with weapons.
Yeah, so that's the number one priority, to bring law and order, which Hasina couldn't do. That's why it brought to the point of collapsing of the government. If she could bring law and order, this thing would not happen. So this is the continuation of Hasina regime, that now we have to make sure that the people celebrate and go back and get back to business, get to work, and work in a different way, in a freer way than they have ever done.
What about Hasina herself, sir? She's in India presently. We don't know if she's applied for asylum over here. There were some reports that she might be going off to the United Kingdom. Again, we don't know if the UK has accepted that. What are your thoughts on that? Who might accept her?
I have no idea. You're just talking about having her in India. I don't know whether that would be a good idea, because...
No, I don't know if she's going to... She's in India now. I don't know if she's going to necessarily be in India indefinitely. And I ask that because there has been no word from the British government as yet, assuming that that's where she was headed.
I have no idea. I'm not in the government. I'm not in the contact with anybody. So I have no idea.
What about the rest of her government? I believe the Home Minister's house in Dhanmondi and Dhaka has been destroyed, burnt. There are other members of our government who would potentially be targeted as well. Is that not a matter of huge concern?
Very much concerned. So law and order has to be restored. This is the anger, which accumulated anger that led to it, but it's to restrain, make sure we go back to the normalcy as soon as possible.
But Professor Yunus, the one worry that so many of us who observe Bangladesh closely is that the interim might be much more dangerous, must be much more dangerous for Bangladesh. Who is controlling these protesters? Is there an element of terrorists who are involved? Are there other groups looking to create instability in your country? And consequently, from an Indian standpoint, since I'm here in New Delhi, could it not have a regional spillover?
Very much. That's what I've been talking to every single interview that I gave. If you destabilize Bangladesh, it will spill over all around Bangladesh, including Myanmar and Seven Sisters and West Bengal, everywhere. That's why I was very happy that Mamata Banerjee came out with the statement that will open door, because he has to accept those people who are coming out of Bangladesh. Because if it continued months and months, this is what exactly happened. Not only they will spill over, they will bring their anger to all these places where they go, and they will make those their places to attack Bangladesh. So that will not be a very happy situation. And if there's a disgruntled people in those areas, they will mix up with them. It will be a volcanic eruption everywhere around us. And Myanmar shells is coming to Bangladesh very frequently now. So the Myanmar and Bangladesh problem again become bigger problem, because million Rohingyas are in here. They will like to go back to the country. Unless Bangladesh is a democratically run country, peaceful country, nobody will be in peace. If Bangladesh is in trouble, everybody will be in trouble. There's 170 million people. 2/3 of the population are young people. So you have to make sure that they are happy and they law-abiding citizens, and they know there's a democracy. Their democracy has to be practiced. These young people never voted in their life. All these elections, meaningless for them. They never went to the polling booth because those elections never held. So this is the situation that we are our starting point is. So we have to talk to the young people. Look, it will be in order. Democracy will be practiced, and you will be the part of the democracy that you will lead to.
Is there a worry that minorities in Bangladesh, again in this interim period of chaos, might be targeted systematically?
In interim period, I don't know. But if it is a democratic country, then they have a voice, because their voice will count. Like in India, there's a democracy. The minority can go and vote, elect their own representatives.
Yeah. Sir, it's always a pleasure speaking to you. I wish the circumstances had been different. Thank you so much, Muhammad Yunus, for speaking with us. Thank you so much indeed.
Okay.
Okay, let me go straight across to the all-party meeting which has just concluded. In fact, the government briefed the leaders on the crisis. Government is in touch with the Bangladesh army. In fact, what External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said, that the safety of Indian nationals is paramount at this particular juncture. There were a lot of questions that were asked by various leaders. Of course, this is coming by the way of sources. That it's a developing situation. Indian government is in touch with the Bangladeshi army because there are 200,000 Indian nationals there in Bangladesh. Government has said that only 8,000 have returned so far. The High Commission is functioning, and as far as Sheikh Hasina's position is concerned, India says that Sheikh Hasina is here in India, and that has been done particularly because of it being a courtesy decision. Let me bring in Aishwarya. Aishwarya, what are you picking up?
We have been told by our sources that it all started with External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar briefing the leaders who were present at the all-party meeting. First, S. Jaishankar briefed about the background and how the entire issue panned out in Bangladesh, and also what is the current situation in Bangladesh, and how the Indian government assisted Sheikh Hasina to move to India. Remember, Indian Air Force were also involved when Sheikh Hasina's Bangladeshi Air Force aircraft was flying from Bangladeshi borders to India, and it was assisted by the Indian Air Force, and the assistance was given by the Indian government to former Prime Minister of Bangladesh. It was also stated that that the government has taken care of the former Prime Minister, and Sheikh Hasina is in India, and the government wanted to give her appropriate time and space so that she can let the Indian government know about what is her future course of action. Indian government wanted to give her all the space that she wanted, and within few days she can get in touch with India. Of course, the Indian government on the other side is in touch with the Bangladeshi army as well. The Indian High Commissions in Bangladesh is functional, and they are in touch with the Indian nationals living over there as well. We have been told that the government has given data that almost 20,000 of Indian nationals are there, including the students as well. 8,000 has come back, and Indian government is in touch with the other Indian nationals to bring them back as well. The Indian government has also apprised the leaders present at the all-party meeting that they have communicated with the northeastern states, and the chief ministers involved over there and the administration have been told to keep a strict vigilance at the Indo-Bangladesh border so that no illegal immigration can take place. As far as the questions being asked by the leaders who are present, specifically to Rahul Gandhi, who asked about what is the government strategy as far as the short-term strategy is concerned and the long-term strategy is concerned, S. Jaishankar replied to Rahul Gandhi stating that it's a progressive situation, government is analyzing it, and also Rahul Gandhi secondly asked about the foreign hand involved in it, to which the government stated that yes, there had been 3 diplomatics of the Pakistani living in Bangladesh. One of them changed his DP, and the government is asking the Bangladeshi army as well as the High Commission about the entire issue, whether the foreign hand was involved in the entire outrage of what currently had been happening over there. Very importantly, the government is also focusing on the minorities and the Hindus living in Bangladesh as well, and for their protection, what the Bangladeshi army and the interim government, if comes, the steps taken towards protecting their rights. The temples over there in Bangladesh is also something that the government is in touch with the Bangladeshi army to protect those as far as those places in Bangladesh are concerned. Lastly, it was the government who stated on the question asked by Arvind Sawan on the border issues, to which S. Jaishankar stated that all borders point is being checked, and the borders currently are on high alert. BSF has been moved, several battalions has also been moved to the border areas, and right now the situation is under control. And very importantly, as far as Sheikh Hasina is concerned, Indian government wanted to give her time and space as the officials of the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is in touch with the UK government. Whenever the permission will be given to her, she would be flying out, but the Indian government will be giving all type of assistance because of the close ties with former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
All right, Aishwarya, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all the details of the all-party meeting. Remember, Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar briefed all the leaders on the situation that is playing out after the fall of Sheikh Hasina government and the army's takeover in neighboring Bangladesh amidst violent protests. Dr. S. Jaishankar briefed the leaders of all parties about the situation in the violence-hit nation and the steps that are being taken by the Indian government. Sources say that Foreign Minister also discussed the strategy to limit the fallout with the new dispensation in Bangladesh for backing the ousted leader. This meeting was attended by Dr. S. Jaishankar, Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, and on the other side of the opposition, you can see all the leaders, including Rahul Gandhi and others who were present. Remember, shortly after Sheikh Hasina resigned, Army Chief General Waqar-uz-Zaman said that the military will be forming an interim government and urged to protesters to stand down. Vasudha is joining us live now. She has been covering the all-party meeting for us. So, Vasudha, the government really did not want an elaborate discussion on the floor of the House because that would have, been seen as government of India revealing the entire thought that it has on the developing situation in Bangladesh. That's why an all-party meeting. But one question that we do not have the answer of, or perhaps you do at the moment because of the conflicting reports which are coming in, is Sheikh Hasina presently in India or has she left?
What we understand is that, of course, Dr. S. Jaishankar has told people that, a courtesy was given to Sheikh Hasina for the friendship that she has shown to the country, and which is why she was brought to India. There is no clarity on, how long she's going to stay here or if she is actually going to be here, because like you rightly said, Maria, the government is very clear that it does not want to reveal any confidential security sensitive details on the floor of the House, which is why yesterday after the Cabinet Committee on Security took place, it was also decided to have an all-party meeting and take all the opposition parties also along when it came to the government's approach towards handling the Bangladesh crisis, because there are two dilemmas here. One, of course, is the security implications of it, and of course the diplomatic consequences of this, because both Sheikh Hasina and Narendra Modi have been friends. Both India and Bangladesh have seen this golden age of diplomacy. So today in the all-party meeting, the tone, the intent was to ensure that there is consensus that is put in place, which is why Rahul Gandhi, of course, asked a lot of questions. He did ask if there was a foreign conspiracy to this, to which Dr. Jaishankar reportedly said that that is not being ruled out, everything is being assessed. In fact, he pointed out to this one fact that a Pakistani diplomat has changed his picture in support of the protesters in Bangladesh. So clearly there are some indications to this, but of course he did not elaborate on that. But there were also questions like Sudeep Bandyopadhyay did, Arvind Sawant did ask about the border situation, and to which Dr. Jaishankar said that there has been a high-level review meet that has happened. All the security checkpoints have been put on high alert, and there is no alarming situation as of now. When it came to really the biggest concerns, Dr. Jaishankar has clearly said that 20,000 Indians still live in Bangladesh, 8,000 have come back. The situation is not as bad as the need for evacuation, but clearly it is alarming enough to exercise, constant sense of caution, which is why, all Indians there have been asked to keep in touch with the embassy there. So clearly that is one thing that he said. Out of 20,000, 8,000 have come back. So that, he said, is going to be priority for him. There are, of course, short-term and long-term implications of this. He did emphasize on the courtesy that was extended to Sheikh Hasina. He didn't really talk about how long she's going to be in India or if she actually has left India. She didn't say that, but the whole tone was to ensure that there is a sense of consensus, so that even if he issues a statement in the floor of the House, which, let me tell you, that has not yet been decided, because yesterday Dr. Jaishankar said that he will issue a statement, he will stand in the floor of the House and speak about this if there is a need, if parties demand that. As of now, the tone seemed to be of consensus. Of course, a lot of questions were asked specifically on the fallout on India, the consequences of it, and to which Dr. Jaishankar has basically said that the MEA is constantly monitoring the situation. There's no official statement from the MEA yet, and we're not very sure if he's going to issue a statement now. But as of now, we did speak to a lot of people. They seemed okay. They seemed at least, in some way satisfied with the answers that have been given by Dr. Jaishankar. Sudeep Bandyopadhyay of TMC clearly said that, it's important to take the Chief Minister of West Bengal along, because, there is a 4,000-kilometer border that we share with Bangladesh, and Bengal is very important. So he did make that request, to which Dr. Jaishankar, of course, said that that would also be done.
And as far as the all-party meeting, Dr. Jaishankar's own tweet says that he appreciates the unanimous support and understanding that was extended. So certainly the entire polity appears to be on one page here in India. Vasudha, appreciate your time. With that, it's a wrap from me. But before that, Samarth by Hyundai, in partnership with NDTV, is a movement for equal rights for people with disabilities. The initiative, now a nationwide movement, has the support of eminent faces and voices from across the country. Here is one such voice.
I would say there are three parts. You have diversity, you have equity, and you have inclusion. I would put inclusion as the most important driver to bring the diversity and equity. When we talk about diversity, diversity is about not only about gender, not only about age, not about geography, it's about competitiveness. When we talk about equity, which means each and every human being should get an equal opportunity to live and serve in this planet. And diversity and equity can happen if inclusivity is there. So I do believe that inclusivity, if it is affordable and accessible, can drive further growth, because then we will be utilizing each and every person's strength on this planet.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
The performance आई सारे दी थे बढ़िया results मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
The performance आई सारे दी थे बढ़िया results मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Aditi Bhardwaj, and let's take a top look at what's happening inside the Bangladesh. Bangladesh former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is in India, and how is her ouster panning out for India remains our top focus here at NDTV. We are discussing what are the implications of the Bangladesh turmoil for India. But before that, let's take a look at the top headlines that we are tracking at this hour. In Bangladesh, amid the Bangladesh crisis, government holds all-party meeting. Top Modi government ministers and opposition attend the meeting. Jaishankar says briefed all parties on Bangladesh situation and appreciate unanimous support and understanding by all parties. Bangladesh former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is still in India. Her son speaks exclusively to NDTV, says Sheikh Hasina is in good spirits. In Bangladesh, after Sheikh Hasina's ouster, now focus is on forming interim government. Student leaders want Nobel laureate Yunus to lead the government in Bangladesh, whereas the army says all efforts are underway to restore peace. Army also has barred people now from entering the Dhaka palace, where several looted food and furniture. Focus also on the 400-kilometer long India-Bangladesh border. BSF has issued in high alert along the Indo-Bangla border.
Google loses major monopoly lawsuit in US. The US judge says Google's online search monopoly is illegal. Decision a major blow to Google parent company. Now, focus remains Bangladesh turmoil. In India, high-level meetings are underway amid the Bangladesh turmoil. An all-party meeting was held in Parliament over the Bangladesh issue. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will also likely make a statement in Parliament today. All eyes will be on what he has to say. For now, he has briefed the all parties that were participating in the all-party meeting that was chaired by the Prime Minister in Parliament. The meeting started at 10 a.m. and concluded just minutes from now. As per sources, it is being said that the parties were informed about the situation in Bangladesh right now. Meanwhile, the Indo-Bangladesh border remains on high alert. In Dhaka, efforts are underway to form the interim government. There is a clamor from students for Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus to be made the Prime Minister. On ground in Dhaka, the curfew has been lifted. In the morning hours, curious onlookers continue to make a beeline for the Dhaka palace, but the army has now barred their entry. The focus is on bringing back a semblance of calm and order in Bangladesh. Now, in the meeting, it was said that the government is in touch with the Bangladesh army. These are the visuals on your screens of the all-party meeting that was held in the parliament at 10 a.m. You can see how from Modi's top ministers to top opposition leaders were present inside the meeting. And as per sources that we are getting here at NDTV, is that government is in touch with the Bangladesh army. My colleague Vasudha Venugopal is also now joining me. Vasudha, exactly what happened inside the meeting? What are the key highlights?
Well, Aditi, this meeting was called by the government, by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, and this was presided over by Dr. S. Jaishankar, who's the External Affairs Minister, and many of the opposition party leaders, in fact, all major parties took part in this, from Rahul Gandhi and K.C. Venugopal representing the Congress party to Sudeep Bandopadhyay representing the TMC, from T.R. Balu of the DMK to Ram Gopal Yadav of the Samajwadi Party, including allies such as Lalan Singh of the JDU, JDS's Kumaraswamy, and also Ram Mohan Naidu of the TDP. So several people were there. Supriya Sule of Shiv Sena was also there. Of course, Supriya Sule of the NCP and Arvind Sawant of the Shiv Sena was also there. And, many of them asked a lot of questions, and the intent and the tone of the meeting right from the start, according to people who attended the meeting, was clear that the government wants to put forward a picture of consensus. It wants to brief, it wants to take the opposition along and ensure that, they get a complete picture of what really is happening and what exactly India's approach is with regard to the security fallout of the tragedy that's unfolding in Bangladesh, and also its diplomatic positioning. Remember that Sheikh Hasina has been a trusted ally of India for 10 years, and in fact, India was the first place that she came to. In fact, India was instrumental in giving her that safe cover and passage. So there were many questions that were being asked. In fact, that's what happened today. Rahul Gandhi asked a lot of questions, and Rahul Gandhi was, somebody who walked up to Dr. S. Jaishankar yesterday demanding answers, and today he did ask if there was a foreign conspiracy to the entire tragedy that's unraveling in Bangladesh, to which Dr. Jaishankar reportedly said that one of the Pakistani diplomats has also changed his profile picture to denote support for the protesters, which is why the MEA is critically looking at the whole situation. It's a developing situation, Aditi, which is why the government is also making it very clear that it wants to do business with the next government. Remember, there's an interim government that is going to be handling important affairs, and from the Bangladesh Nationalist Party to the Jamaat, everyone is going to be part of this. So India is walking the tightrope. It's a diplomatic dilemma for the country. Sheikh Hasina was somebody who actually took Bangladesh to being this economically, sort of developing country, but at the same time there were problems with her, regarding her high-handedness and also anti-democratic moves, which is why India needs to sort of, have a balancing move. In the all-party meeting, there were also questions asked on the direct security fallout For instance, what will happen to the borders of India, to which Dr. Jaishankar has said that all checkpoints have been closed and there is no alarming rise of any infiltrators, which is why the situation seems to be in control right now. There is vigilance, there's surveillance, that's what he has assured them. Sudeep Bandyopadhyay of TMC has also asked for Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, to be taken along in these consultations, which is something that Jaishankar has accepted because, Bangladesh also shares a 4,000-kilometer border with India, and West Bengal is an important sort of, state, as sharing borders with Bangladesh, also cultural linkages. So clearly many questions there. The government has also made it very clear that it was a courtesy that was awarded to Sheikh Hasina, who now ceases to be the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, but she's been at the helm of Bangladesh since 2009. We have a lot of projects with her. So the government has made it clear as to why it did what it did. And of course, there's no clarity on if Dr. Jaishankar will be sort of making a statement yet, because there are mixed views on this. Some people said that he is keen on doing that, and some people said that he may not. So we'll have to wait and watch. But he has made it very clear that the safety of Indians there, around 20,000 of them, of which 8,000 have come back, is going to be the priority of the government, which is why the Indian government is in touch with the Bangladesh army to ensure that there is no risk or, for instance, danger to the to Indians there, specifically the minorities there, and that is something Dr. Jaishankar has made it very clear is going to be India's priority. And of course, he has talked about the long-term implications of this and the short-term strategy, but making it clear that this is a developing situation and that the opposition has to work hand in hand with the government to ensure that there are no diplomatic contradictions when it comes to India's positioning in the world vis-a-vis Bangladesh.
Right, Vasudha, and when India is right now in huddle mode, which was supposed to be a brief stop, now Bangladesh, former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, is currently still in India. Do you have any clarity what will be her next move?
Well, what I understand is that the MEA officials, Vikram Misri, has been having a lot of meetings yesterday. Today also Jaishankar came in and he left immediately because, there is a crisis at hand and he has to solve that. We are not yet sure as to where Sheikh Hasina is. She has been transported to a safe house, is what we knew last night. But of course, India also has to show this message that it stands with friends. At the same time, it is ready to do business with whoever is in power. Remember that Khalida Zia's party, the BNP, or for that matter, the Jamaat, have not been very great to India because they've also been allegedly promoting extreme elements. At the same time, they've also been in some ways promoting an anti-India stance, which is what we saw in some of the protesters there. We have had this situation with Maldives, which is why I think MEA is quite adept at handling the situations. There is a need for tact diplomatic moves and, of course, at the same time handling the security issues at home, because, there are at least 6 states which will have to face the brunt if there is, sort of a lot of infiltration or, for that matter, migration that happens, which is why India is taking a very careful, cautious stand, monitoring the situation, at the same time showcasing to the world that it stands with friends, but at the same time is ready to do business with whoever comes to power.
Right, a crucial and testing time for India. Vasudha, thank you so much for joining us and giving those details. My colleague Aishwarya Jain also spoke to Congress MP Karthi Chidambaram. Take a look.
Well, joining with me is Congress MP Karthi Chidambaram. Sir, how do you see the current situation on the Bangladesh?
It's very fluid, it's fast evolving, but our primary concern is the safety of our citizens in Bangladesh and also make sure our border security is secure. And further, whatever government comes there in Bangladesh, it must have good relationship with India. We really wouldn't want to have any religiously radicalized government in Bangladesh there, because that will not be in our interest.
So, are you satisfied with the government steps yesterday?
I think the fact that the External Affairs Minister briefed all party leaders is a very welcome step. And we are with the government as far as national security.
So, the Indian government also stated that they wanted to give space to Sheikh Hasina and let the Indian government know about her plans in the upcoming days.
We are with the Indian government as far as national security is concerned. We are completely with the Indian government.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. That was Congress MP Karthi Chidambaram speaking to NDTV.
Right, and joining me for discussion on the Bangladesh turmoil, I have with me Ayanjeet Sen, who is an international affairs expert, and we also have Sultan Muhammad Zakaria, who is the co-founder of Bangladeshi Diaspora for Justice and Accountability. Before opening this discussion, thank you so much for joining us. Before opening the discussion, Sultan Muhammad Zakaria, I would come to you. You have put out an information that Muhammad Yunus will be the chief advisor, or will be the part of government, or will he lead the party in the center? What is the confirmed information that you have so far on the aspect of Bangladesh?
Well, I appreciate you having me. I think the students leaders who led the protest movements made an announcement on social media that Professor Yunus will, from their part, will head the transitional government. So whichever way we name it, either is chief advisor or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm sure that they spoke to Professor Yunus and he agreed to that.
Mr. Zakaria, why is there a clamor for him to be, leading the government in Bangladesh? If you can throw some light on his role.
I think the main reason is that he is a very towering figure who can bring all factions and all groups under one umbrella. He is well respected locally and internationally. Of course, Sheikh Hasina despised him, but that's a very small element within the Bangladeshi society. The vast majority of the society, I think, very much honor him, love him, and because of his service to the country and for his cause, I think he is also quite known internationally. And students leader, which I would say rightly thought that to handle a crisis like this magnitude, Professor Yunus would be the right choice because of the volatility of the situation, the fluidity of the situation, and I believe they make the right call.
Right, while Mr. Zakaria is backing Muhammad Yunus as the next head, Ayanjit Sain, I would like to come to you. What are your opinions on if, Nobel laureate Yunus is the head of the Bangladesh government, the new government that will take place after Sheikh Hasina?
Good morning. If Nobel laureate comes to head the current interim government in Bangladesh, one aspect is there that he is well respected in the world, as Mr. Zakaria said before. And he's also known as banker to the poor after winning the Nobel Prize back in 2006. And he did spend a few months in jail in the early part of the year for violating labor laws in the country, but that was during the Army League's tenure. But I think he would be widely respected if he comes to power. But at the same time, there were about 18 other names which were doing the rounds yesterday, though they are in all probability going to take the decision today. But there was another name which was doing the rounds was of Dr. Salahuddin Ahmad, who's a former governor of the Bangladesh Bank. But anyway, it's up to the military to decide as to how they would form it. But if he comes, if Professor Yunus comes actually as the head, then I think it would be still, I would say, it's a liberal way of taking the talks ahead if it is to do with forming the new government when the elections next take place in Bangladesh, whenever that takes place.
While we talk of this prospect, Ayanjit Sain, what are your opinions? I mean, how will the political dynamics change when Khaleda Zia is also now out from the jail? She is the chief of the opposition in Bangladesh. She has served as two-time former Prime Minister. How will her name come up, and if she gets the throne, how will the political scenario between India and Bangladesh change?
Well, that's really interesting because when Khaleda Zia was in power long back in the early 2000s, I remember there were issues of the Ulfa militant group, which was operating from the hill tracts of the Chittagong area in Bangladesh. And, so they were in a way helping out terrorism to kind of, do their work in India, but which is absolutely denigrated by the world across. And at the same time, if they come back to power, because Khaleda Zia health-wise is not in a very good condition, but there's one more problem. If her son comes back, because her son is now out of the country, if her son reaches back, because he is known to be a staunch anti-Indian. And if this person comes by any chance to power, then it would be a tough nut to crack, no doubt. But I'm sure from the diplomatic parlance, India will do the needful properly, if at all that situation emerges. But I had a chat with one of the leading leaders of one of the main opposition parties, Jatiyo Party, Mr. G.M. Kadir. And he apparently, during the conversation, he told me that, he was in the opposition, but he said that, look, we are looking, because he was present in the meeting with the president of Bangladesh yesterday, in the presence of the army chief. And he said that things are propelling in a way whereby we will come to a very good solution, and things will go ahead well in Bangladesh. That was his opinion, and the way Bangladesh will move forward. Because I asked him to do with elections, whether elections are going to actually take place, and if so, when. To which he replied, well, we would see what happens, but it could be that it may be quite a few months before actually the election takes place in Bangladesh.
Right. Sultan Mohammad Zakaria, how will the political scenario be between India and Bangladesh if Muhammad Yunus gets the throne?
Well, I think that's a very good question, and I think Professor Yunus would be able to shed more light on it. But from my understanding of Professor Yunus, he is a very, very respected among the ruling circles here in India, and I'm sure he would be in touch with the people in Delhi, how the interest of the two people can be handled amicably or mutually, and I think he's a very competent, able leader to handle any crisis scenario, and for that matter, I would like to reiterate that I think Bangladeshi people in general, they don't have any animosity towards Indian people. It's just that sometimes it appears that the certain Indian government officials try too much to protect Sheikh Hasina or try to beat her. I mean, and we saw that in the last 10 years, and that created really huge resentment among the people. Why they are doing so? They are trying to defend a very unpopular dictator. Other than that, I think people to people contact, public diplomacy. I mean, we are two people that has a lot of shared common history, culture. So I really don't know why the two countries, at least the two people, should be in conflict or should be in confrontation in one way or the other. And I'm sure Professor Yunus knows this very well. She knows he is aware where he is coming from. He is aware what he is representing, and he is aware what he can or cannot do.
Right. Anjit Sen, Sultan Mohammad Zakaria, please stay with us. We are slipping into a very short break, but our top focus here at NDTV remains Bangladesh turmoil and what it means for India now.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
बहुत ही परफॉर्मेंस आई साਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟਸ ਮਿਲੇ.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
Now a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
After great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ परफॉर्मेंस आई ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟਸ ਮਿਲੇ.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient.
And we are back with our discussion on the Bangladesh turmoil. Ajit Sen continues to stay with me. Sultan Muhammad Zakaria also stays with me on the panel today. Ajit Sen, if I ask you, The former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is in India right now. What next will be her move? We know that she sought asylum in the United Kingdom. But if that doesn't sail through, then what options does Sheikh Hasina actually have now?
Well, it depends a lot on whether the United Kingdom actually agrees at the end or not. But if they agree, well, that's certain because she will be going there. Her sister is already a citizen of the UK. But in case if UK disagrees, then there are just reports coming in that Belarus might be one of the places where she might head to. But it's absolutely very unsure because she's trying, as far as I know, she's trying wherever she can, in whichever country she can at least leave from India as soon as possible. But it might take a little time. It all depends on whether the UK government ultimately, decides to give her the political asylum which she has sought for.
Right. Ajit Sen, stay with me. My colleague Salman Saeed is also joining me from Bangladesh, Dhaka. Salman, what is the sentiment on ground? The army said that the curfew will be lifted, schools and business will reopen. How are the things panning out in Dhaka?
There's a huge traffic. Life has become normal. It's like, I'll just show you the newspaper people are reading. Today's newspaper as the first paper showing thousands of people in the Prime Minister's office. The student Abu Said who died. আঙ্কেল আপনি কি কি পড়তেছেন আজকে কেমন লাগছে আপনার এখানে কেন আসছেন এখানে কেন আসছেন মানে জনতার জয় হইছে আমাদের জনগণের জয় হইছে শরীরের পতন হইছে So he's saying that the public has won, the dictator has lost. আর কি আজকে কেমন লাগছে এই যে সকালে পেপারে কি কি পড়লেন আচ্ছা 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 কালকে কিরকম দেখলেন আর আজকে ভিতরে গিয়েছিলেন কি দেখছেন So he tells me yesterday he came and now it was all vandalizing. So আপনি এখানে কেন আসছেন আপনার নাম কি এখানে বিজয় উদযাপন করছি ছাত্র জনতার বিজয় এই জালেম স্বৈরাচারকে আমরা বিদায় করেছি গণ অভ্যুত্থানে তার পতন হতে বাধ্য হয়েছে অবশেষে সে জনগণের কাছে ক্ষমা চেয়ে বা কোনো কথা বলে যেতে পারে নাই মাথা নিচু করে তার এই দেশ থেকে বিতাড়িত হতে হয়েছে চুরের মতো পালাতে হয়েছে আর আমি আজকে দ্বিতীয় দিন আসলাম আমার ফ্যামিলি নিয়ে এই সেলিব্রেশনটা আমার ফ্যামিলিকে নিয়ে আমি উদযাপন করলাম I am celebrating. I'm here. I came yesterday. He just tells me he was celebrating yesterday when this dictator left, and now today he brought his family to show them, and he is very happy that the freedom has been restored. আপা কিছু বলবেন We are very happy that we have won the freedom. We have won this war. अब আপনার নাম কেমন লাগলো ভিতরে গিয়ে কি দেখছেন ভিতরে কি ছিল কি ভাষা বুঝতে পারছি না আনন্দিত জনগণ নিয়ে সামনে পড়ে সবকিছু সরকার হয়ে গেছে সেটা পালিয়ে গেছে থেকে আমরা মুক্তি পেলাম এই সরকার আমাদের দ্বিতীয়বার দেশ স্বাধীন হলো So he's saying we are very happy the dictator government has gone, the second independence and freedom has come and we have seen it. That's all. And there we have another guy standing here. একটু বলবেন আপনি কেমন লাগছে আজকে এবং কালকের সিচুয়েশনটা দেখে কালকে তো খুবই এই টাইমে খুবই নীরবতা ছিল আজকে তো এই টাইমে সম্পূর্ণ সিনারি চেঞ্জ তবে সরকার পতনের জন্য খুবই খুশি কিন্তু আমি খুবই মর্মাহত যে সরকারি সম্পত্তি এভাবে মানুষ লুটপাট করছে এটার জন্য খুবই আমি মর্মাহত সরকারি সম্পত্তি এভাবে লুট করা ঠিক হয় নাই অন্যান্য দেশের সরকার পতন হয়েছে কিন্তু তারা উল্লাস করছে আনন্দ করছে কিন্তু সরকারি মালামাল লুট করে নাই I'm very happy. I was here yesterday also. This man told me He was here yesterday. He was celebrating, but we have also seen people from the other country has dictator government has fallen, but he didn't see that they were looting. He's upset that these people are looting everything.
My colleague Mohammad Ghazali is also joining me from the Hindon Airbase. Remember, yesterday was when former Bangladesh Prime Minister landed here, and Indian NSA also met her. Ghazali, what more informations do you have? Recently, we are also picking up those reports that the plane has left from the Hindon Airbase.
See, right now, the security has been beefed up. I'll just ask my camera person to show you. The cops have been deployed here. We saw 2 cars getting into the Hindon Airbase, but they were unoccupied. There was no one inside the car. But as of now, there is no information whether Sheikh Hasina will be moved out of the Hindon Airbase or not. We only have the update till yesterday that she landed over here. She is here. We also know that her daughter is here in Delhi working as a regional director with WHO. So after the all-party meeting, perhaps everybody supported India's stand in giving protection or sort of a place of stay to Sheikh Hasina when she fled Bangladesh. But what will be the future course of action? Perhaps the government here in India is also waiting for her asylum clearance from the UK government, and only then perhaps she will make her future move. But till then, she is based here is what we are picking up right now, and there is no update as of about her future journey or what could be her future steps or moves, because her son has already clarified that she's not going back to Bangladesh or to the politics there. So as of now, the only update we have here is that she landed here yesterday, she is here, and perhaps maybe the government may decide to put her and her daughter and her sister who left with her from Dhaka to be at one particular location. Now, what would be that location? What would be that safe house where Sheikh Hasina, her sister Sheikh Rehana, and her daughter, Sheikh Hasina's daughter who is working with WHO, whether they all will be staying in one place or whether her stay will prolong here at the Hindon Airbase. So that has not been decided yet, and we can only see some cars going in and out, and security has been beefed up outside the Hindon Airbase.
Right. Ghazali, thank you so much for giving those details. And I continue to stay with Sultan Muhammad Zakaria. Zakaria, if I can come to you, we just saw how people are celebrating the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, but she has been credited for the economic growth that was under her rule in the 15 years that she ruled. We saw how the economy grew, the GDP was doing good. So according to you, was she a dictator or a person who was working for development of Bangladesh?
Well, as if both are mutually not exclusive. I mean, you can be a dictator and provide or offer certain level of development. And Bangladesh or this part of the world is well aware of this kind of false dichotomy for years. Ayub Khan, I mean, the known, the Iron Man, the self-proclaimed field marshal, he vouched this, that the development of democracy. So I think you can be a dictator and you can offer provide some sort of development, but also I think we need to remember that Bangladesh has borrowed mindlessly in the last 10 years. The country borrowed the amount of dollars from the external sources more in the last 10 years than the combined 50 years in the past. So this mindless borrowing created heavy pressure on debt servicing and the foreign exchequer. And the second aspect is that the cost of a run of every project is astronomical. If you compare the construction projects between the same kind of projects between India and Bangladesh, Bangladesh spent nearly 4 to 5 times higher than that of in India. And all this money fed Sheikh Hasina's cronies. And two of Sheikh Hasina's very close associates and business people become the largest, one of the biggest or largest, richest person in Singapore. Where those money came from? They don't have any business or affiliates in abroad. So they looted this money, they shipment of this money, and they take this money from this poor country to Singapore. And they're closely associated with Sheikh family. So I think the flip side of this development narrative is that she also wreaked havoc in the macroeconomic infrastructure. She totally destabilized the macroeconomic, the prudence, the wisdom that came along with the previous administrations. So I think that also has to be remembered, and Bangladesh will be a bond of mindless borrowing and industrial scale looting of public resources for the years to come.
Right. If I can go across to Anjit, saying Anjit, United Kingdom did put out its statements. It has been saying that the Bangladesh situation, it has its eyes on. This morning also, when a statement came in, it said that they want a UN probe into the turmoil. But so far, it has remained silent on whether it will grant the asylum to Sheikh Hasina or not. How do you see the United Kingdom's reaction coming out?
Well, I think there have been reports of some violence in the UK in the past few days, and I think from that perspective, they are not in a position whereby they can immediately decide. Possibly, one factor could be this. The second factor could be to do with the fact that a lot of the BNP supporters are based in the UK, and if Hasina goes there, of course. There might be some kind of a problem which may emanate. But I think they are taking into account several factors. And with the UK government coming in power recently, it'll not take a decision so quickly, of course, but at the same time, we'll weigh its options very carefully, especially bringing the UN part as you talked about. And that is something which will play a part in finally making the decision as to whether they would grant the asylum to Sheikh Hasina or not. But most probably they would actually possibly do so because her sister is a citizen of that country.
Right, and we will be continue to look at how the interim government will be formed, what will happen, who will take finally charge. But the name that is doing rounds is Professor Muhammad Yunus. Now, Bangladesh students want him to lead the country now. My colleague Vishnu Shom also spoke to him. Take a look.
Joined now by Professor Muhammad Yunus, the 2006 Nobel laureate and founder of Grameen Bank, one of the most well-known Bangladeshi citizens. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us.
Thank you.
I think the biggest worry now is law and order in Bangladesh. We'll talk about politics in a while, but it's law and order and who is in charge. What are your thoughts?
Well, of course, that's a very important issue, law and order. That's where it all began. They completely collapsed. And that's led to the demand for resignation of the government, resignation of the Prime Minister, and that led to that resignation. Today, there's a celebration of the kind that we had on 16 December 1971, when we freed ourselves from Pakistanis. And now we got rid of a very totalitarian government. So there's a lot of celebration all over the country, not just not the Dhaka city, millions of people out in the street enjoying their freedom, that finally we get free from all those difficulties that we have gone through. So that's we're enjoying it, and we see that a new era is beginning in Bangladesh. Finally, got rid of the people who have been torturing them, creating problems for them, and corruptions and everything all over the country. So now,
Yunus, is it not your worry, sir? Is it not your worry that there would be more instability going forward? One of the points mentioned.
Hopefully, the instability can be packed into a box and keep it there. That's what Hasina was trying to do. Or instability to come out to create a stability, because ultimate goal, ultimate cure, ultimate medicine of stability is to bring democracy. That was completely denied in Bangladesh. So for the first time, we'll get a chance to have a real election. That's what the whole idea of having this revolution.
No, but Professor Yunus, the worry also, sir.
A transparent election,
right,
not the
by all
kind
means,
of fake
absolutely.
election
Democracy must thrive in Bangladesh, no two ways about that. But in the interim period, isn't there a real worry that there are Islamist elements and extremist elements in Bangladesh?
All kinds of elements, of course. Any nation has
so that's the problem, sir, because why would students go and destroy a statue of the father of Bangabandhu, of Sheikh Mujib, which we have on our screen? Are they not being instigated? This was anger against the Prime Minister.
Blame Hasina for that, leading the nation to destroy her father's image, because she has made so bitter thing for the whole country. They don't mind what they are doing that. It's the responsibility lies squarely on the Prime Minister who did that, made the whole country in that situation.
And do you believe that this interim government, which is now going to be formed, has it in it to actually bring law and order? Because even now, we had a correspondent up just about 3 minutes back, people are looting police stations and making off with weapons.
Yeah, so that's the number one priority, to bring law and order, which Hasina couldn't do. That's why it brought to the point of collapsing of the government. If she could bring law and order, this thing would not happen. So this is the continuation of Hasina regime, that now we have to make sure that the people celebrate and go back and get back to business, get to work, and work in a different way, in a freer way than they have ever done.
What about Hasina herself, sir? She's in India presently. We don't know if she's applied for asylum over here. There were some reports that she might be going off to the United Kingdom. Again, we don't know if the UK has accepted that. What are your thoughts on that? Who might accept her?
I have no idea. You're just talking about having her in India. I don't know whether that would be a good idea, because...
No, I don't know if she's going to... She's in India now. I don't know if she's going to necessarily be in India indefinitely. And I ask that because there has been no word from the British government as yet, assuming that that's where she was headed.
I have no idea. I'm not in the government. I'm not in the contact with anybody. So I have no idea.
What about the rest of her government? I believe the Home Minister's house in Dhanmondi and Dhaka has been destroyed, burnt. There are other members of her government who would potentially be targeted as well. Is that not a matter of huge concern?
Very much concern. So law and order has to be restored. This is the anger, which accumulated anger that led to it, but it's to restrain, make sure we go back to the normalcy as soon as possible.
But Professor Yunus, the one worry that so many of us who observe Bangladesh closely is that the interim might be much more dangerous, must be much more dangerous for Bangladesh. Who is controlling these protesters? Is there an element of terrorists who are involved? Are there other groups looking to create instability in your country? And consequently, from an Indian standpoint, since I'm here in New Delhi, could it not have a regional spillover?
Very much. That's what I've been talking to every single interview that I gave. If you destabilize Bangladesh, it will spill over all around Bangladesh, including Myanmar and Seven Sisters and West Bengal, everywhere. That's why I was very happy that Mamata Banerjee came out with the statement that will open door, because she has to accept those people who are coming out of Bangladesh. Because if it continued months and months, this is what exactly happened. Not only they will spill over, they will bring their anger to all these places where they go, and they will make those their places to attack Bangladesh. So that will not be a very happy situation. And if there's a disgruntled people in those areas, they will mix up with them. It will be a volcanic eruption everywhere around us. And Myanmar shells is coming to Bangladesh very frequently now. So the Myanmar and Bangladesh problem again become bigger problem, because million Rohingyas are in here. They will like to go back to the country. Unless Bangladesh is a democratically run country, peaceful country, nobody will be in peace. If Bangladesh is in trouble, everybody will be in trouble. There's 170 million people. 2/3 of the population are young people. So you have to make sure that they are happy and they law-abiding citizens, and they know there's a democracy. Their democracy has to be practiced. These young people never voted in their life. All these elections, meaningless for them. They never went to the polling booth because those elections never held. So this is the situation that we are our starting point is. So we have to talk to the young people. Look, it will be in order, democracy will be practiced, and you will be the part of the democracy that you will lead to.
Is there a worry that minorities in Bangladesh, again in this interim period of chaos, might be targeted systematically?
In interim period, I don't know. But if it is a democratic country, then they have a voice because their voice will count. Like in India, there's a democracy. The minority can go and vote and elect their own representatives.
Yeah. So it's always a pleasure speaking to you. I wish the circumstances had been different. Thank you so much, Muhammad Yunus, for speaking with us. Thank you so much indeed.
Okay.
Now shifting our focus to other news stories that are coming in. India bloc MPs are protesting outside Parliament. The opposition demands a reduction in GST on health and insurance. We saw how several political leaders also from the India bloc backing the chorus for no GST on health and insurance policies. These are the visuals of how the India bloc MPs today staged a protest outside the Parliament demanding that the centre should remove the GST on health and insurance services. My colleague Vasudha Venugopal will be joining us for more details on it, and this is also the demand from Nitin Gadkari, Union Minister. He said he has written to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman seeking a rollback of the GST that has been levied on health and insurance policies, saying that this is the basic minimum thing that the people living in the country need, and hence there should be no tax on the health and insurance policies that the common citizens in India here want. Now the opposition is also joining that chorus. We saw how West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee also shooting off a letter to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on the demand that there should not be a GST on health and insurance policies that are being given by the centre to the people. My colleague Vasudha Venugopal is also joining me. Vasudha, we are seeing that the opposition is protesting against the centre over the demand that there should not be a GST on health and insurance policies.
Absolutely. There is this issue was raised by senior minister in the Modi cabinet, actually, Nitin Gadkari, who had written to Nirmala Sitharaman saying that the 18% GST on medical insurance premium and also life insurance premium is something that taxes the uncertainties of life, which affects middle class and also, forces them to rethink their savings and planning for the future. And he had requested her to remove that. So clearly after that, TMC also picked up this issue, which is why Mamata Banerjee tweeted about this, posted on X about this. And she said that, this is something that her party will sort of raise. And today we saw the entire opposition coming together, Congress MPs and the entire India bloc, all the parties that are part of the India bloc coming together and basically asking the finance minister, asking the government to remove the GST on both medical insurance premium and life insurance premium, saying that this is something that will dissuade people from actually applying for insurance, something that is basically important for their life cover. And this protest did go on for some time, and this was also immediately after the all-party meeting. So while there is a lot of talk about Bangladesh and the uncertainty and the fallout of that in India, this is something that basically was something on the opposition's mind. And of course, now the parliament is back to its own proceedings with first Amit Shah and Nityanand Rai of the Home Ministry sort of like answering questions, and now Minister for Agriculture answering questions on different farm crisis and also farm struggles.
Right. Thank you so much, Vasudha, for joining us and giving those details. We are seeing that how India bloc MPs are protesting outside the parliament, demanding reduction on GST on health and insurance policies. And shifting now our focus to Wayanad landslides, the killer landslides, and the death toll now has increased. The death toll in Wayanad landslide has crossed 400, while the rescue and relief operations continue in Wayanad. And as per the Chief Minister, it is in the last stage. You can see how on July 30th, three multiple landslides hit Kerala's Wayanad, and after that, several people have so far died and lost their lives. So far, the death toll in the Wayanad tragedy has crossed 400 today. Rescue and relief operations continue in the region, while the weather department continue to predict that this is not going to be an easy task for the rescue and relief teams, as a rainfall warning is also predicted for the state. Now the relief and rescue operation is continuing in this region. So far, there are still hundreds who are feared trapped in the region, and hence the relief and rescue operation teams are working day and night to carry out the process and take out everybody safely and securely. My colleague Pratibha Raman, who has been tracking the details from day one, from July 30th, is now joining me. Pratibha, bring us up to the speed. What is happening in the relief and rescue operation, and the death toll that we have right now seems to have crossed the 400 mark.
That's right, and it is quite unfortunate because we are on the same Tuesday last week that the landslides occurred, and it's been around 1 week now, and the rescue and relief operation continue in full swing there. 5 dead bodies were received from Wayanad and 1 from Nelambur, making the tally to 6 more that were recovered from one of the interiors in the region there where the landslides occurred. 154 body parts were also cremated at Harrison Malayalam Limited Plantation crematorium there. And prayers were conducted in multiple faiths there because we did not really know who belonged to which faith, and that is how mutilated the bodies were. And the identification process has been extremely difficult for many of them. Scientific examination to identify the dead bodies also continue at the same time, with 83 blood samples that have been collected in the last 2 days there. Around more than 1,074 personnel have been deployed in the search operation at 6 zones, Hitachis, JCBs, all of them being used at different points, vulnerable locations as well. 913 volunteers who are working in full force there. So one can imagine the kind of search operation that is on, which has already reached its final stage, is what we hear. And the Suchipara waterfalls happens to be one of the regions where people who have gone in search of dead bodies were also stranded, and they need to be airlifted at this point in time. Back to you.
Right. Thank you so much, Pratibha. And NDTV here is also running a Care for Kerala campaign for all those people who are living outside Kerala and want to help these people who have been forced to displace from their living. The Scan and Pay UPI ID is on your screens, viewers. If you want to join the NDTV initiative, which is Donate for Kerala, the Care for Kerala campaign, then you can just scan this UPI ID and you can make your small payment that you want to and wish to, so that people in Kerala can receive help, the maximum help that everybody can ensure.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
International Airport, where we're showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
बहुत ही performance आई सारे दी ते बढ़िया results मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, is that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
After a great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
बहुत परफॉर्मेंस आई सारे दी ते बढ़िया रिजल्ट्स मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you.
Some people say the metaverse will only be virtual. One day this lecture hall will be made of code, and driverless cars would be trapped in intersections. But even in this maze of the future, you can't wish away health. It's time to become more resilient. "10 years of Banega Swasth India, we have grown and achieved so many milestones. And now I have a plan to beat the urgency, to stop breathing with difficulty, to relieve getting choked with inactivity. Energize our government, our environment, our society, and ourselves. Everyone, everywhere, every day. Banega Swasth India. One world hygiene.
After a great victory by Indian team, and today we are reporting from Mohali International Airport where we are showing these visuals. Arshdeep हमारे साथ हैं.
बहुत परफॉर्मेंस आई सारे दी ते बढ़िया रिजल्ट्स मिले.
We are in the city of Kanpur today because they have their champion back home, Kuldeep Yadav.
Desperation for each and everyone to go there and win the World Cup, and we did it.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
Wayanad, a landslide has now resulted in the death of 400. The death toll has increased. It's crossed the 400 mark, and Kerala police are saying that relief and rescue operations are now in the last phase. Special search operations are being conducted in isolated regions today. And in the Bangladesh crisis, the government has held an all-party meeting. Top Modi government ministers and the opposition attend that meeting, and it is the External Affairs Minister Sheikh Hasina who's briefed all parties on the situation when it comes to Bangladesh. He's gone on to say they appreciate unanimous support and understanding by all parties, is what Sheikh Hasina had to say. And the focus as far as Bangladesh is concerned is now in forming the new interim government. Now the student leaders want Nobel laureate Yunus, Muhammad Yunus, to lead the government, and the army has said that all efforts are underway in order to restore law and order and peace and return to normalcy as far as the country is concerned. The army has now barred people from entering the palace of Dhaka. The focus on over 4,000 kilometers long India-Bangladesh border. The BSF has issued a high alert along the border between India and Bangladesh. And Google loses major monopoly lawsuit in the United States. Google's online search monopoly is illegal, is what the judge in the United States had to say. This decision is quite a major blow when it comes to the parent company of Google. Let's get you our top focus. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Divya Vatwa, and this is in regard to the landslides that's killed hundreds of people. The death toll has now increased and it's crossed to 44. 400 people have died as far as the death toll in Wayanad is concerned. Rescue operations are in its last stage, is what the police has gone on to say. So they are now conducting search and rescue operations in isolated areas today. Search and rescue operations in the landslide area, the area that was impacted by 3 landslides that occurred a week ago, which killed more than 400 people, has now entered its final stages. The focus will now be more concentrated of the areas which are inaccessible via traditional methods. A special team by helicopters has been deployed to search the water body for more bodies and remains. So that massive landslide that took place on the 30th of July, triggered by incessant rainfall, has caused over 400 deaths. And authorities are conducting, rescue operations which are carrying on. They are continuing, but these are now in isolated areas, the areas which are not accessible. And to get more on this, we have my colleague Pratibha joining us. Pratibha, take us through the situation on the ground. What is it like? I mean, we are hearing that rescue operations are now literally in their final stages.
Well, it was the same Tuesday last week when the landslides occurred, and the rescue and relief personnel have been working around the clock with respect to finding more bodies, more stranded survivors there. And talking about dead bodies, yes, the death toll unfortunately has crossed the 400 mark, and they have managed to recover 6 new dead bodies as well. As far as the last 2 days are concerned, we're talking of 5 bodies received from Wayanad, 1 from Nilambur, 30 unidentified bodies, and 154 body parts were also cremated at the crematorium with prayers conducted in multiple faiths. Those cremated include bodies of 14 women and 13 men. So a very, very unfortunate and distressing scene that comes out of Wayanad at this point in time. Scientific examination to identify the dead bodies also continue at the same time, and 83 blood samples have also been collected. In fact, the search operation is at its final stage, and they've been talking about some of the most inaccessible areas like the Suchipara waterfalls, where people have trekked 6 kilometers in search of dead bodies, as well as people who have been stranded. And the rescue personnel themselves were stranded, and arrangements are being made to airlift them. The weather is also against each of them today, not really on their side, but still the mission to reach these inaccessible areas continues as far as the relief and rescue operation is concerned. Back to you.
Right, Pratibha, now the places where the mud is nearly 50 meters deep, that is still left to be scanned, is what we're hearing. And over 1,170 personnel from various forces have been deployed in the rescue operations. But what we're hearing is they're volunteers, they're locals, they're residents who are also helping the army and others in the rescue operations.
Well, that's right. I mean, it is commendable to see the kind of solidarity that you get to witness here. A whole lot of volunteers at different points who give out water packets, who give out food for the rescue personnel as well as those stranded survivors, who also give out for the media as well, raincoats and other such things. There are people from different regions of Wayanad as well as other parts of Kerala who have come in here with the express purpose of contributing in some small way possible. And that's the kind of resilience that you see as far as this tragedy is concerned. All of them trying to take responsibilities in some sort of way. There were people who were manning the traffic. There were people who were trying to make clearances for the ambulances there. There were a lot of medical staff as well from different regions who were there at the right time to try and see if they could also contribute in some way possible. So that's the kind of message that Wayanad wants to send out, to say that we are going to be there and we are going to still keep the hope alive in terms of finding more stranded survivors there. Medical camps that were set up at different pockets of Wayanad. So that these are some of the positive things that people witnessed as far as the tragedy is concerned. But on the other hand, yes, very, very distressing scenes coming out with respect to the several dead bodies, with the toll having crossed 400 there. Also raging debate in terms of whether this was a natural phenomenon or a man-made disaster. Politics over that also continues, but priority still remains rescue and relief.
Right, Pratibha, areas, there are many areas that are still inaccessible, and in those particular areas, drones are being used in order to provide them with essentials such as food.
That's right. Several areas, because talking of the landscape of Wayanad, it is definitely extremely slopey. We are talking of hilly regions there. We are talking of deep, thick green cover there and inaccessible forest regions. But still, there were some of the positive news that came in the last 3-4 days where people managed to get into the interiors of the forest to try and see if they could rescue some of the tribal families there, as well as other stranded families. And they did succeed in rescuing some of them there. Some of them even got stranded, like the Suchipara waterfall that I was talking about, which is an extremely difficult terrain there. And to get to that place also takes about 6 kilometers from the Churalmala town. And despite braving all these odds, challenges in terms of the weather conditions, they did manage to reach there, and now even the rescue personnel do not know how to come back to town. That's the kind of situation that you get to see at these regions. Also talking about the landscape of Wayanad, when you have these tea plantations at different regions, and Wayanad stands for those plantations, several plantation workers as well who are stranded there. And these plantations also kind of contribute in some way to loosening of the soil, and that's been one of the most contributing factors in terms of having triggered these landslides, adding to that the red alert that was already issued with respect to heavy rains there that was relentless in terms of 7 days of rainfall that Wayanad got to witness. Many of these that still needs a lot of studying as well as a lot of lessons to learn from that. But in the meantime, it is definitely going to be a difficult task in terms of reaching out to those inaccessible areas, which is precisely why the teams have divided themselves into 6. The regions have been divided into 6, like the downstream area, the village area, the forest area. So this is how they've split themselves to try and see how they could manage to get to those remote, isolated locations as well.
Right, of course, many questions being raised as to how are these multiple projects in Wayanad approved without really conducting a thorough study in regard to the topography and the area and the soil, like you were pointing out. Thank you so much, Pratibha. And of course, what we're hearing is that it's Karnataka's Chief Minister Siddaramaiah who has offered to construct 100 houses for the victims in Wayanad. And you also can do your bit. This is an initiative that has been launched by NDTV. It's called Care for Kerala. You can donate. You can scan and pay through that barcode that you see on your screen. You can make a donation in order to help the victims who have lost just about everything due to the incessant rains that led to multiple landslides. And switching the tracks now to Now, India is holding a series of high-level meetings amid the turmoil in Bangladesh. An all-party meeting was held in the parliament over the Bangladesh issue, and it's Jai Shankar who is expected to make a statement. He has spoken to all the opposition parties as well, and you can see on your screens Rahul Gandhi there attending that meeting as well. The shocking turn of events leading to Sheikh Hasina's ouster as the Prime Minister of Bangladesh has put India now in a tricky situation. The Prime Minister chaired a meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security last night to discuss the Bangladesh situation that has immense strategic ramifications when it comes to New Delhi. The centre is yet to publicly state how it plans to navigate this neighbourhood crisis, but it is the border, the India-Bangladesh border, which is on high alert, and efforts are now being made in order to form the interim government. There's a clamour from students for Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus to become the new Prime Minister of the country. On the ground in Dhaka, the curfew has been lifted this morning, and curious onlookers continue to make a beeline for the palace there. But now it is the army that has asked people and banned people from going to the palace. We have Saurabh joining us. Saurabh, security has been beefed up as far as the border situation is concerned. This is one of the longest borders that we see between India and Bangladesh, over 4,000 kilometers. Take us through what's the situation like on the ground.
Well, the Director General of the Border Security Force that's primarily responsible for guarding the India-Bangladesh border is where I am. This is, of course, the Benapole-Petropol border, and the DG of the BSF is here. And, of course, he is taking stock of the situation and the preparedness along the border. And if I can ask my camera person to show you just across. This, of course, is, as you can see, the picture of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and that's Bangladesh. And, of course, this is just a few meters away. And we've been speaking to people who've been crossing the border. In fact, one of them did tell us, who's from the minority community in Bangladesh, the Hindu community in Bangladesh, did mention that there was a certain amount of fear. And also what we've heard is that those who've been coming in from Bangladesh, for example, an Indian truck driver who spoke to us a short while ago did say that yesterday he did witness some of those violent scenes, and that was something that was terrifying. So, yes, there has been, of course, a lot of chaos, anarchy, and also violence. There have also been some, images that perhaps are, generate some hope of some, members of the Muslim community guarding temples in the aftermath of attacks that have taken place. But this is, of course, something that also we've seen statements on. Statements from leaders of different parties in Bangladesh saying that, this is not a time for violence. But unfortunately, in the aftermath of Sheikh Hasina's resignation and also her subsequent leading of the country, there has been an absolute situation of absolute chaos, anarchy. And of course, that could spill over. And there is absolute, concern over that within India. And therefore, there is always an alert on these borders. But there is extra alert. What we've heard is that perhaps more forces have also been applied, in here. And this is, of course, the border, like we were saying.
We also have our colleague Vasudha joining us at this point in time, and she's going to take us through that all-party meeting that took place in order to brief the opposition parties as far as the situation in Bangladesh is concerned. And this is regarding the crisis that has unfolded in less than 24 hours. The government is now in touch with the army of Bangladesh, and as far as the safety of Indian nationals is concerned, that is of paramount concern at the moment. The Indian High Commission is functioning, and the government at the moment, from what we are hearing, is giving time to Sheikh Hasina. And to get more on this, we have my colleague Vasudha joining us. Vasudha, take us through, what details you have for us for that meeting that was held in the parliament. When can we expect a word on the plan of action going forward from here? There seems to be, no clarity on that yet.
Well, Divya, what I understand is that the Lok Sabha Speaker, Om Birla, has already informed the House that Dr. S. Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister of India, who chaired the all-party meeting today, he will be making a statement in the floor of the House today on the Bangladesh crisis and how, what kind of approach India has with regard to handling that. At the same time, diplomatically sort of in some ways addressing the situation. He will be making that a very important statement today around 3:30. The floor of the House is what we hear. This comes after Minister, he of course chaired this all-party meeting, which actually saw many MPs, many leaders from opposition parties, including Rahul Gandhi, K.C. Venugopal, Misa Bharti, Supriya Sule, T.R. Balu of the DMK, Sudeep Bandyopadhyay of the TMC, and Arvind Sawant of the Shiv Sena. Also allies such as NDA allies such as Ram Mohan Naidu of the TDP, and also Lalan Singh of the JDU, and also JDS's Kumaraswamy. And we also had very important ministers such as Kiran Rijiju, who heads the Parliamentary Affairs Ministry, Rajnath Singh, who heads the Defence Ministry, and of course Home Minister Amit Shah was also present in this meeting. And this meeting actually saw a lot of questions being thrown in at Dr. Jaishankar by specifically Rahul Gandhi, T.R. Balu, and several other opposition leaders, including Arvind Sawant. The questions were regarding specifically Mr. Gandhi did ask if there was any sense of a foreign hand, a foreign conspiracy in whatever happened, unraveled in Bangladesh, to which Dr. Jaishankar seemed to have reportedly said that one Pakistani diplomat did change his sort of display picture, suggesting that he was in favor of the protests that were happening there. So clearly this is an evolving, prevailing situation, which is what Dr. Jaishankar said, and he told the MPs that of course the Ministry of External Affairs is keenly looking at it, monitoring the situation, reviewing it. All the checkpoints have been in some ways put on surveillance, high alert, high vigil. The BSF DG Daljit Singh Chaudhary is just reviewing on the Indo-Bangladesh border. There is, remember, a 4,000-kilometer border that India shares with Bangladesh. So specifically for the northeast, this is very important. It's a security concern, which is why the DG is there. The External Affairs Minister did talk about that, and he said that there is no alarming increase in the numbers yet. But specifically, like you said, the Foreign Minister also said that the concern and the priority for the government is to ensure the safety of all 20,000 Indian nationals who are there in Bangladesh. He said that the High Commission is still functioning and people are in touch, and there is no need of evacuation as yet, which is also something that India has done in the past. But clearly there is a sense of lot of caution. He did focus on the fact that Sheikh Hasina has been awarded courtesy by the government because she's been a friend. She's still in India, and of course she's been given time to understand what her future course of action would be. So clearly a lot of consensus making exercise was, the attempt was towards that, and that is what happened today morning. And of course the statement that will be delivered by the External Affairs Minister would also bring in more clarity. But other than that, in the Parliament, we also saw protests by the opposition members today. Today, all the India Bloc members did come out and protest against the GST that's imposed on medical insurance premiums, something that Nitin Gadkari, Senior Minister in the Modi cabinet, also raised. But of course, now the question hour is going on, and Shivraj Singh Chauhan, the Agriculture Minister, is answering questions, and all eyes are on the External Affairs Minister as to what statement he says at 3:30 p.m.
Right, Congress Party and other opposition leaders have also pledged their full support when it comes to handling the situation as far as the neighborhood crisis is concerned. And many patent questions were raised, in fact, by Rahul Gandhi. He has questioned perhaps the interference of Pakistan in this issue that might have resulted in the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. He's also questioned the long-term and the short-term plans when it comes to the involvement of India and the ramifications for the country. Let's just also get you what Karthi Chidambaram had to say as far as this all-party meeting is concerned. He spoke with my colleague Aishwarya.
Well, joining with me is Congress MP Karthi Chidambaram. Sir, how do you see the current situation on the Bangladesh?
It's very fluid, it's fast evolving, but our primary concern is the safety of our citizens in Bangladesh and also make sure our border security is secure. And further, whatever government comes there in Bangladesh, it must have good relationship with India. We really wouldn't want to have any religiously radicalized government in Bangladesh there, because that will not be in our interest.
So, are you satisfied with the government steps yesterday?
I think the fact that the External Affairs Minister briefed all party leaders is a very welcome step. And we are with the government as far as national security.
So, the Indian government also stated that they wanted to give space to Sheikh Hasina and let the Indian government know about her plans in the upcoming days.
We are with the Indian government as far as national security is concerned. We are completely with the Indian government.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. That was Congress MP Karthi Chidambaram speaking to NDTV.
We also have my colleague Ghazali joining us to get us more on this. Ghazali, there's no confirmation on whether the United Kingdom has offered asylum to Sheikh Hasina, so it's still unclear what really happens if the UK does not give her, say, a green signal in its response to the situation. London, of course, has reacted, and they have gone on to say that a UN-led probe is what is required, but has not really touched upon the asylum issue.
Yeah, the asylum issue still remains a suspense, and that shows the kind of hectic negotiations must be going on through the back channel talks to ensure that Sheikh Hasina gets asylum in one of the countries. Since yesterday, we have been hearing numerous names of the countries which could be her possible stay in the future, alongside Russia, UK, Belarus, multiple countries, and the names were rotating yesterday, or rumors were rife that perhaps she'll go to some of these European countries. But as of now, it is no clarity, because even the Foreign Secretary of United Kingdom issued a statement on the overall situation of what was developing in Bangladesh in the last 48 hours, but even he didn't touch upon the asylum issue. So even Mr. Jaishankar, the Foreign Minister of India, held briefed the all-party meeting about the developments in Bangladesh, but there is no clarity that till when Sheikh Hasina is going to stay in India. Her daughter works with one of the organizations here in Delhi, and she's based here in the national capital. And right now, we're being told that Sheikh Hasina is here at Hindon Airbase, but we don't know whether her daughter is also around, whether the family will stay together, or what kind of arrangement the government of India will do for her stay till she gets a clearance from UK, or whether she's planning to go to any other country. We don't know that whether her team, who facilitated her exit from Bangladesh yesterday, are also in touch with other countries, because UK is a very interesting place when it comes to asylum, because Khalida Zia, the opposition leader from the Bangladesh Nationalist Party in Bangladesh, her son is also in exile. He was facing corruption charges back in Bangladesh, so he had also moved to UK, where he is staying there in exile. So we don't know if Sheikh Hasina would also get that kind of treatment or facility from the United Kingdom government, and this is very unclear as of now. But what we are being told is that till she gets the clearance, she is likely to stay back here in India, but what will be her location is not known yet.
Right, Ghazali. So also the country faces quite a diplomatic dilemma when it comes to the relationship they've had, say, with Sheikh Hasina in the past. I mean, they had given refuge to her earlier as well. Will they be promising her the same stand, or will they be changing course this time around, is a big question, because really what complicates the relationship is the new suspension as far as Bangladesh is concerned.
See, diplomacy doesn't work with the relation with one personality. Sheikh Hasina was the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, and that is when India had good relations with Bangladesh, or say the Hasina's government in Bangladesh. Now, since she is out of power, and this is not 70s or 80s when her family was given refuge in India, India is not in a position to antagonize the people back there on the streets who were protesting since yesterday. The situation is still not calm. And India is also keeping an eye on multiple players. Over the years, perhaps India didn't develop that kind of relations with the opposition leaders, and it was not smart enough also to gauge the situation back in Bangladesh, which was building for the last 3 and 4 months when these protests took off against the quota system to those who have fought for the liberation war of 1971. So now the Indian government certainly finds itself in a kind of fix, a diplomatic fix, because they will also have to deal with those who will be ruling Bangladesh now, the people who will be running the interim government. Then you have the army chief who took all the important announcements and decisions yesterday of taking out Sheikh Hasina safely out of Bangladesh, and then asking people to calm down, and also promising that an interim government will be installed. So India will be keeping a close eye on those leaders who are whose name are who are the probable names to be in the new government in Bangladesh. And we know the characters or the kind of politics the two key parties, Jamaat Islami and Bangladesh Nationalist Party, has been practicing in Bangladesh. We of course know about Jamaat Islami, which was recently banned by the same Sheikh Hasina government a couple of weeks ago, and about the Bangladesh Nationalist Party that never missed any chance of fueling anti-India sentiments back there. Now, the kind of reports which are coming from inside Bangladesh of violence, and a sort of multiple incidents have been reported of attack against the minorities, though Jamaat Islami on their social media and its leader appealed people to stay calm and ensure that minorities are not harmed, while the bigger issue, the larger issue has been resolved, is that the Sheikh Hasina has resigned as the Prime Minister and she is no more in power. But India will also keep an eye on multiple issues which are multiple challenges for India. One, infiltration from across the border. We share around more than 4,000 kilometers of land border with Bangladesh, and we also have porous borders with Bangladesh, which connects with multiple states in the northeastern region. So India will be keeping a close eye on that, and as Saurabh was also reporting that the Director General of BSF has visited those border areas to monitor the situation to ensure that there is no influx of infiltrators from that side. then also whether India is in a position, if the situation arises, to give refuge to anybody who is moving from that side, or the people who are likely to leave Bangladesh and come to India. Is India in a position to give asylum to those people? Will that not antagonize the new government? So these are certain issues which the Indian government is facing as a challenge, because when Sheikh Hasina was in the government, India and Bangladesh were jointly working on a lot of issues, be it was to check the infiltration or supply of counterfeit currency or drugs, and also to ensure to check the radicalism on the border areas, near the border areas. And very recently in June, when Prime Minister Modi took oath or in his swearing-in ceremony, after the swearing-in ceremony, though Sheikh Hasina was present in the swearing-in ceremony, she paid another visit, a special bilateral visit, and met Mr. Modi here. And in that particular meeting in the first week of June, it was decided that both the countries will jointly work to curb radicalism. So all these projects are now in limbo, because reports are coming in that perhaps whoever gets into power now in Bangladesh in the interim government will review all the previous decisions. So will the review scrutinize these kind of coordination between the two countries? Will the new government or the parties will also look through the diplomatic relations of what Sheikh Hasina had built in the last 10 years? So these are the real challenges, and sadly India will have to patiently wait and watch till the new government or the new party takes power or takes charge of the interim government in Bangladesh.
Right, Ghazali also spoke of the interim government which is going to be formed, and it is the coordinators of the anti-discrimination student movement that have proposed an interim government headed by Nobel laureate Dr. Muhammad Yunus. Who is Muhammad Yunus? Well, to get details of that, we have my colleague Vishnu, who spoke with Muhammad Yunus. Listen in.
Joined now by Professor Muhammad Yunus, the 2006 Nobel laureate and founder of Grameen Bank, one of the most well-known Bangladeshi citizens. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us.
Thank you.
I think the biggest worry now is law and order in Bangladesh. We'll talk about politics in a while, but it's law and order and who is in charge. What are your thoughts?
Well, of course, that's a very important issue, law and order. That's where it all began. They completely collapsed. And that's led to the demand for resignation of the government, resignation of the Prime Minister, and that led to, it has finally led to that resignation. Today, there's a celebration of the kind that we had on 16 December 1971, when we freed ourselves from Pakistanis. And now we got rid of a very totalitarian government. So there's a lot of celebration all over the country, not just not the Dhaka city, millions of people out in the street enjoying their freedom, that finally we get free from all those difficulties that we have got through. So that's, we're enjoying it, and we see that a new era is beginning in Bangladesh. Finally got rid of the people who have been torturing them, creating problems for them, and corruptions and everything all over the country. So now,
Is it not your worry, sir? Is it not your worry that there would be more instability going forward? One of the points mentioned...
Hopefully, the instability can be packed into a box and keep it there. That's what Hasina was trying to do. Or instability to come out to create a stability, because ultimate goal, ultimate cure, ultimate medicine of stability is to bring democracy. That was completely denied in Bangladesh. So for the first time, we'll get a chance to have a real election. That's what the whole idea of having this revolution.
No, but Professor Yunus, the worry also, sir...
A transparent election.
Right, by all means, absolutely. Democracy must thrive in Bangladesh, no two ways about that. But in the interim period, isn't there a real worry that there are Islamist elements and extremist elements in Bangladesh?
All kinds of elements, of course. That any nation
so that's the problem, sir, because why would students go and destroy a statue of the father of Bangabandhu, of Sheikh Mujib, which we have on our screen? Are they not being instigated? This was anger against the Prime Minister.
Blame Hasina for that, leading the nation to destroy her father's image, because she has made so bitter thing for the whole country. They don't mind what they are doing that. It's the responsibility lies squarely on the Prime Minister who did that, made the whole country in that situation.
And do you believe that this interim government, which is now going to be formed, has it in it to actually bring law and order? Because even now, we had a correspondent up just about 3 minutes back, people are looting police stations and making off with weapons.
Yeah, so that's the number one priority, to bring law and order, which Hasina couldn't do. That's why it brought to the point of collapsing of the government. If she could bring law and order, this thing would not happen. So this is the continuation of Hasina regime, that now we have to make sure that the people celebrate and go back and get back to business, get to work, and work in a different way, in a freer way than they have ever done.
What about Hasina herself, sir? She's in India presently. We don't know if she's applied for asylum over here. There were some reports that she might be going off to the United Kingdom. Again, we don't know if the UK has accepted that. What are your thoughts on that? Who might accept her?
I have no idea. I have no idea. You're just talking about having her in India. I don't know whether that would be a good idea, because...
No, I don't know if she's going to... She's in India now. I don't know if she's going to necessarily be in India indefinitely. And I ask that because there has been no word from the British government as yet, assuming that that's where she was headed.
I have no idea. I'm not in the government. I'm not in the contact with anybody. So I have no idea.
What about the rest of her government? I believe the Home Minister's house in Dhanmondi and Dhaka has been destroyed, burnt. There are other members of her government who would potentially be targeted as well. Is that not a matter of huge concern?
Very much concerned. So law and order has to be restored. This is the anger, which accumulated anger that led to it, but it's to restrain, make sure we go back to the normalcy as soon as possible.
But Professor Yunus, the one worry that so many of us who observe Bangladesh closely is that the interim might be much more dangerous, must be much more dangerous for Bangladesh. Who is controlling these protesters? Is there an element of terrorists who are involved? Are there other groups looking to create instability in your country? And consequently, from an Indian standpoint, since I'm here in New Delhi, could it not have a regional spillover?
Very much. That's what I've been talking to every single interview that I gave. If you destabilize Bangladesh, it will spill over all around Bangladesh, including Myanmar and Seven Sisters and West Bengal, everywhere. That's why I was very happy that Mamata Banerjee came out with the statement that will open door, because he has to accept those people who are coming out of Bangladesh. Because if it continued months and months, this is what exactly happened. Not only they will spill over, they will bring their anger to all these places where they go, and they will make those their places to attack Bangladesh. So that will not be a very happy situation. And if there's a disgruntled people in those areas, they will mix up with them. It will be a volcanic eruption everywhere around us. And Myanmar shells is coming to Bangladesh very frequently now. So the Myanmar and Bangladesh problem again become bigger problem, because million Rohingyas are in here. They will like to go back to the country. Unless Bangladesh is a democratically run country, peaceful country, nobody will be in peace. If Bangladesh is in trouble, everybody will be in trouble. There's 170 million people. 2/3 of the population are young people. So you have to make sure that they are happy and they law-abiding citizens, and they know there's a democracy. Their democracy has to be practiced. These young people never voted in their life. All these elections, meaningless for them. They never went to the polling booth because those elections never held. So this is the situation that we are our starting point is. So we have to talk to the young people. Look, it will be in order. Democracy will be practiced, and you will be the part of the democracy that you will lead to.
Is there a worry that minorities in Bangladesh, again in this interim period of chaos, might be targeted systematically?
In interim period, I don't know. But if it is a democratic country, then they have a voice, because their voice will count. Like in India, there's a democracy. The minority can go and vote, elect their own representatives.
Yeah. Sir, it's always a pleasure speaking to you. I wish the circumstances had been different. Thank you so much, Muhammad Yunus, for speaking with us. Thank you so much indeed.
Okay.
Right.